What is a good vibe tribe? Let's put the little splitter right here. You know what I mean? Little thingamajig. This thing be trippy, man. It be work. I tell you, it be work. I tell you. All right. So what's up, guys? I'm gonna go ahead and make my camera a big faux. Get it? Let's got it. All right. We talking business. We talking business now, man. All right. So what's up? Welcome back to the Road to Fitness podcast. Today, I figured, you know what? Let's talk about breathing. And breathing, you know, I remember I used to tell people like, "Oh, let me help you how to make a grocery list," and they would be like, "Boy, I know how to make a grocery list." Same thing with breathing, man. I think you say the word breathing and people are immediately like, "Bruh, it's breathing." Inhale and exhale. But here's the thing. Exposure to things throughout my career, I guess you could say, made me realize how important some things are. For example, in in my job at Lifetime, I became a metabolic specialist. At first, it was just a different title. It's either way. Dead ass. It is though. And then after that, I became a metabolic successor, and then really got into the science of breathing. So I'm sure you guys have seen. Oh, I'm gonna pull it up too, cause I want you guys to see what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm sure you guys have seen these type of tests, where you got. Let me see if it shows it up. Yeah, that's right there. I'm sure you guys have seen these. You know what I mean? You got yourself a you got yourself a little situation where can I even? It's not even showing me the whole picture. All right, but you guys have seen these, right? These kind of tests. You got the whole you got the mask. They connect it to some computer, and then they read some charts and whatnot. that's that's metabolic testing, and that's what I mean when metabolic specialist. I did those tests, and one thing that you keep learning from it is that breathing is so important, man. You know, you don't think about people don't realize that breathing is literally the most important thing that has to do with people losing weight, gaining muscle, you know, recovery and all that, your health. So, for example, if someone, if so, I'm just gonna give one example because I want to kind of explain the science first, real quick. But if someone wants to lose weight, you know, that's calories burned. When we breathe, we inhale, and our body basically converts that, cleans it up, and exhales it. We get rid of the toxins and whatnot. As you teach your body how to breathe better, you are teaching it how to breathe more efficiently. Meaning, when you inhale, you you might change your, that has to do with your heartbeat, right? Because when you inhale air, it changes the blood circulation of your body, the amount of blood that's circulating. You're changing the way your actual body reacts to how much you're breathing, and your lungs and all that. But like, think about it this way, right? If you're breathing in while you're walking normally, right? You have you're just breathing normally. You're burning fat by breathing. Now, you start running. When you start running, you start breathing more and more and more, which means your exchange of oxygen is a little bit different. I'm gonna pull up. We'll pull up something and see how it works out. Let's do breathing. There you go. All right. So this is what I mean. So basically, we bring in oxygen, right, and send the carbon dioxide out. So what happens is the act of actually sending carbon dioxide out is what we improve in. And that act itself is what has to do with not just fat, but how much your body is working. Let me see. I'm trying to read this. Nah, breathe in, breathe fat out. Yeah, I haven't seen. It's the first time I googled it. But anyway, I'm just gonna explain it. But yeah, basically, yeah, that was the whole thing. Carbon dioxide is what's making you, more efficient. So I'm gonna give you an example. When we're breathing in, let's say you're just working out at a very easy pace. So like you're doing a brisk walk or a light jog where you can still let's consider it your zone 1, right? You're talking perfectly fine, but you're working, you're burning fat at that point. You're building your tolerance to burn fat more efficiently at a normal rate. So like when you're just sitting down, your body starts to learn how to burn more fat. Not just that, but also you're building more capillaries. So capillaries are going to be these things that basically are tiny little, I guess, veins, but they're called capillaries that they start to grow. As you start to train your body to breathe better, you teach it to expand and grow more capillaries. Capillaries are the things that are going to transfer basically whatever your body needs to the right places. We have capillaries everywhere. We have capillaries. That's a good example, I suppose. We have capillaries in our heart, in our legs, arms, chest, everywhere. Capillaries go everywhere. So by teaching yourself how to breathe more efficiently, or focusing on breathing as a part of your exercise, you start to build capillaries, which means you're getting more efficient and your body is getting more efficient at sending the nutrients or the right things to the right parts of the body, because your body is able to absorb more now or send more because of these capillaries that you've built. So for example, if you and capillaries are great for clearing out toxins and, like I said, bringing the right nutrients to the places. So like if you're somebody that wants to gain muscle, right, you want to get buff and big, building these capillaries are going to attach to the muscle, which means you'll be able to give the muscle more blood flow. You'll be able to extract the lactic acid out better. You'll be able to get rid of toxins, but also give it the right blood flow, the right oxygen, the right nutrients, like if proteins and all that stuff, for it to be able to be as effective as possible or efficient as possible, right? So these capillaries are great things to try to grow and expand in your body. One thing people don't understand too is they don't just help with weight, weight gain, which is muscle gain, but they also help with weight loss, right? Because the more efficient your body is getting at receiving that oxygen, that means your body's getting more efficient at getting rid of that carbon dioxide. So if you're able to get more oxygen in and more carbon dioxide out, more blood flow in and more blood flow out, then that means your body's working harder. In the sense of, you're working less while your body's working harder. So as at a rested state, your body will be burning more fat, recovering better. And when you're in a state of activeness, your body is going to be able to be more efficient. You're going to be able to pump out one more rep. You know, you're going to be able to pump out more weight. You're going to be able to run a little bit faster and longer, right? So that's one thing I think people kind of ignore when you're talking about exercise, right? There's this big misconception of you got to push your body to the hardest limit. But really, you should really be focusing on exercising on like the lower levels of exercise for like about, I don't know, maybe 70% of your exercises. You know, a good solid maybe 20% on that middle range, and then only 10% in the harder range. And that's because of this, right? Because at this rested state, you're building these capillaries. You're not only doing that, but you're also teaching your body how to breathe more efficiently. And before, you know, we're talking about breathing, one of the big things that I learned too was breathing from your nose is a higher and more efficient way of breathing, because what your nose does when you breathe in is, one, it filters out, you know, it filters your air. So one, you're filtering stuff so it gets to the lung the right way. If you ever seen, let me see if I got a picture. I can pull up a picture real quick. Nostril. I don't even know what they're called. Intake. Nostril intake. I misspelled the heck out of that. All right. So if you look at the inside of your nose, I don't even know what these are, but people use these, huh? Swimmers and shit. Nostril anatomy. All right, there you go. I don't know. I was blanking out for a second. All right, so if we look at the inside of your nose, it's pretty huge, man. You know what I mean? You got a whole section here. Air comes in, and that's actually more like a shell. Let me see if they're like a snail kind of shell situation. But anyway, there's a lot of space in there where the air comes in. So one thing that people don't know is that as we use our nose less and less, it's basically muscles. You know what I mean? You'll notice that if people use their noses less and less, it will eventually start to be underused, which means it becomes unconditioned. And if you treat it like a muscle or think of it as a muscle, it starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller because it's not being used, right? So that's why when people have a hard time with breathing through their nose, sometimes, you know, you could talk to somebody, maybe it's not you, but somebody out there, you'll know them, and you'll be like, breathe through your nose, and they have a hard time, right? It's like you can't, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things when you train your breathing, you also need to think about training your nose. And what I mean by that is, go work out, do some cardio or weightlifting, whatever you want to do, but try to use only your nose. And then when you find that spot where your mouth wants to be the one that takes over, kind of take a step back, slow down, you know, and then kind of just train that way, where you're focusing on how long, how many reps, how many sets, how many miles can I do with only my nose. You know, log it if you must, and then later, a week or two later, you can kind of track and see how much better you got. Because we can definitely breathe through our noses better than better than when we can through our mouths. And then here's the thing that, like, I'm sure you guys have heard about this, but when you breathe, you might notice either people breathe up and the chest expands, or you breathe and like your stomach expands. So this is the diaphragm, right? I don't know if you guys have heard about this or heard about this type of breathing style, but basically, let's see their definition. and see if it kind of helps you guys with what I'm gonna try to say soon. It's true. A dome-shaped muscular partition separating the thorax from the abdomen in the mammals. It plays a major role in breathing as its concentration increases the volume of the thorax and inflates the lungs. So basically, a lot of times, you a funny guy, man. So basically, that's why I got Google, bro. So basically, if you're training your diaphragm, you're gonna be it's a muscle, right? So you're gonna be training how to breathe more efficiently, how to expand the lungs more efficiently. So try to focus on those things, right? So, like we were saying, zone 1 and maybe 2 would be the zones you want to kind of train at to train your breathing patterns and your breathing efficiency. Because if that's the case, we're going to, 1, expand more capillaries, grow more capillaries. 2, train the diaphragm. And 3, get more efficient at burning fats and gaining muscle. So one of the things that people don't know are linked to breathing. And then I'm not saying this is the cause of these things, but there's case studies and research that go into saying diabetes, blood pressure, some inflammation, all that kind of stuff is led. It has to do with your breathing, which is true. If you think about it, you're breathing, right? You think about inflammation. So what causes inflammation, right? Think about that. If your body is better at focusing on a point in your body, getting rid of toxins in that spot, bringing more blood flow through that area, breathing, which leads me to my to my next thing. When we're exercising, or when we're stretching, sometimes people say, "Oh, breathe in this way, breathe out when you're, stretching, whatever." So that's another part that I want to kind of bring into this whole thing. I'm sure you guys have seen foam rollers, right? So we got foam rollers like these. We have now. We got the massage guns too. You know what I mean? So here's one thing that people don't understand. I used to work with a massage therapist, and he was also a trainer at my old gym. And he he used to tell me, I used to tell him like, "Hey man, what do you do? What do you look for when you're massaging somebody for, they have a knot or whatever the case may be?" And I think this is one of the things. I guess this could be a different podcast, but it's gonna go in here because of breathing. But when you have a knot in your body, basically, there you go. It's a good picture. I like this one. All right, but when you have a knot in your body and your muscles, it literally is tiny little muscle pieces that are tied up. So one thing that people get wrong with foam rolling and massage guns is that it has to do with blood flow, which means it has to do with breathing. So if you want to be more flexible or be in less pain when you work out, focus on your breathing. When you're foam rolling, what you're doing is basically you're rolling over that area. You might be holding it in a specific spot for about 30 seconds, let's say. Once that 30 seconds pass by, you release pressure to let all that blood rush in. You know what I mean? And if all that blood rushes in, you're able to make that little spot more flexible, which is when you add movement. So like you might move. Let's say I'm massaging my arm. First, we hold the pressure in a spot, let the blood come in, and then as the blood's coming in, we're moving it to different directions that might expand that muscle. So that being said, if you're used to using foam rollers a lot or massage guns a lot, if you focus on increasing your breathing capabilities, you'll be able to let your blood rush to that specific spot a lot faster and a lot more efficiently, and you'll be able to distribute that as you're stretching throughout wherever you need to, meaning you recover faster and you're in less pain than you usually would be, you know? So kind of just remember that it's not just one thing by itself. It's a lot of the components of your body working together, you know? So breathing is one of them. And I only wanted to make a podcast about breathing because we all do it, but nobody thinks about the whole thing as one, you know? Nobody thinks about like, oh, you know what? I'm exercising, working on my reps, working on my sets, working on my percentages, but nobody's like, let me focus on my breathing too. Let me train my breathing. That being the thing. There's a couple different ways to train your breathing. I know yoga's pretty big into training breathing. Some of the yogas. There's also some other things that you could do. Specifically, for me, my best recommendation is go on Google or wherever you search for your stuff. Find a facility that will do a metabolic test. And then once you find this person or place that does metabolic testing, I don't work for Lifetime anymore, but I know they do one. They do them and they do a pretty decent job at it. But go take a test. Once you take a test, you'll be able to see your results. This is where I come in, right? So if you notice that they might not give you a training plan, you might not have to need to pay for one. But what I want you to get out of it is, where are your thresholds? You know what I mean? Where are your spots where your breathing changes? This is your true heart rate zone training, if that makes sense. Because you cannot rely on your heart rate for your zones. And what I mean by that is, your heart rate is so inconsistent that your heart zones will change throughout the days and the weeks. So that's why I say focus on your breathing. The metabolic test is going to let you know what load at what intensity is going to be your zones. So for example, the way we used to test, one of the most common ways was the treadmill. We used to see what incline and what speed your oxygen levels and carbon dioxide exchange changed. So that's what you would follow, the breathing specifically. One thing that people get wrong is that they use a heart rate sensor and then they track their heart rate and they use that for the heart rate training. But that's the problem. You drink caffeine, heart rate changes. You drink an energy drink, heart rate changes. You sleep less, you sleep more, heart rate changes. You're stressed out, your heart rate changes. You might eat a lot of sugar that day, that heart rate changes. So the heart rate is too inconsistent and it's deceiving. So maybe I should have made this podcast heart rate training too, man. I'm telling you, this the heart rate thing it's an effective way to train, but it's not the one you want to use when you want to train your breathing efficiency, because it definitely will, for sure, lie to you. So that being said, let's kind of bring it all together. Breathing affects everything. Breathing affects your fat loss. Oh yeah, I didn't even go into that. So basically, think about if you're more efficient at breathing, you're going to be able to get better at transferring blood through your body. The act of transferring blood to your body is a metabolic um, action or result, which in part will burn your fat. So when I was talking about earlier, you get better at fat burn. Yeah, the better you get at breathing, and the better you get um at your changing your blood flow and improving your blood flow, and the more fat you're gonna be burning at rest. So one of the things, to give you an example, one of the things we used to look at when we first did a metabolic test on somebody was what percentage of fat is your body burning at rest, and then from there, what percentage of fat is your body burning at what zones. So for this example, let's say that they were burning 70% fat on their zone 1, right? But then down the line, they train their breathing, they train their metabolic system. Down the line, about, let's say, 2-3 months later, they were burning up to like 90% fat. And I'm not saying, like I said, everything works together, right? I'm not saying just focus on breathing and ignore everything else. What I'm saying is also incorporate your breathing into your routine. So still focus on diet, still focus on, your exercising, but also incorporate breathing. A lot of times, we have people that are like, man, I'm eating perfectly fine, I'm working out super hard, but I'm not losing weight. Well, maybe you're breathing wrong, or maybe you're not focusing on the right intensities of breathing. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I think you should really start looking into 100%. Let's pull up this right here. So, does carbon dioxide help? Oh shit. So, let's see what they say. Let's see, what is this? This reaction produced 62 pounds of CO2 and 24 pounds of fat can be breathed out as well as burned off as you lose weight, but as much of the body via the lungs is carbon dioxide. Yeah, boy. There you go. Simply standing up and getting dressed more than doubles. See, that's the thing that people don't understand. We burn. See, that's what I wanted to get to. If a person, if a person, we look at. Yeah, I'm gonna just focus on that real quick. when we're focusing on on burning fat, we all forget that when do you burn the most amount of fat? It's not during exercise, because a workout could burn anywhere between 200 to like maybe 700 calories in a workout, depending how hard you push yourself and how long it is. Maybe longer, maybe less. But you only burn, like, let's say, on average, most people burn like 500 calories in a workout, right? But we burn the majority of it throughout the day. And that's what I'm trying to get my point to. It's one, be more efficient at when you are working out. Be more efficient at burning specifically stored fat during your workout versus just the carbs that you just ate or you're about to eat. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you're just in a steady state. So get efficient at burning stored fat, but also focus on. We burn the most amount of calories throughout the day. Let's just say you burn 2,000 calories, right? If you burn 2,000 calories and you focus on your metabolic health, which is heart, your heart health and your blood and your breathing, basically is what I'm getting to. You focus on your breathing. Instead of burning 70% fat during that 2,000 calories, you'll be burning 90% fat during those 2,000 calories. You know what I'm saying? So really, that's just the whole point I want to get across. Focus on your breathing. Make it a priority. If you don't go get yourself tested for a metabolic test, that's cool. You could just focus on, which I would highly recommend. But you could just focus on basically training at a lower intensity for more periods of time than focusing on getting a hard, breathtaking workout out. You know? Because, yeah, hard breathtaking workouts are important. But if you think about it, you're actually burning the least amount of fat during the high intensity workouts. You're just burning a bunch of stored carbs or a bunch of the carbs that you have, just there. So, just kind of maybe one intense workout in the week, but not even that long, maybe like 20 minutes. But yeah, that's the only thing I want to get across. The misconception of breathing and how important it is. And if you don't believe me, go take that metabolic test. Trust me. It'll make a difference. Besides that, I think that'll be it for today. Pretty short podcast. But it's the topic that, has more content, but that's kind of all the things I want to focus on because it could have more to talk about. But my takeaway for this one is health, fitness, and nutrition. So there's that. If you came through, thanks for coming by. If you're here, hey, what's up? Thank you for coming by. But I will see you guys